Alright, it's that time to call out Spectrum News New York 1. As usual, there are a couple stories that they ignored in Brooklyn. And I'm going to make a rant about COVID uh, at the end. But before we get into the stories, I wanted to address something that's kind of important. That many of you know I got furloughed from Northwell last week due to the surge again. And I have personally decided to take some time off from my nursing home job. I had heard from the administration today that they're telling every staff member, including the non essentials, to get tested every week. Obviously, my paperwork got messed up a couple weeks ago. I wasn't even in the nursing home's testing system, and the stress and worrying that going through the testing, what if I test positive? What if I infect my parents? And then, quarantining for 5 days is nothing. It's just that, you know, in my facility, they're still telling people to quarantine for 14 days, which is outrageous why they aren't listening to the CDC's advice. But it's administration. They can do whatever they want. They have their own rules. I can't get the health department involved. So there's that part involved in that situation. Also, in the past couple of days, I've known some people in my personal life, family, friends. I know my mother's friend's granddaughter and my mother's friend's daughter tested positive over New Year's. My ex-girlfriend, for an example, her mother got COVID over New Year's, and I'm scared right now. I mean, I live with people who are above the age of 60, and until this surge goes down, I'm going to be staying home for a while, but that will give me enough time to work on some projects that I have planned for this channel. I'm going to work on a couple things that I have in mind. Annie Plays is still happening. Don't worry about that. I have something big planned later this month that I'm currently working on. I have other things I also plan to do, but until then, I just have to be vigilant of my safety, and the only time I'm probably going to leave my house is if I need to get food. And that's pretty much going to be it. Might be once a week, might be once every other week. Lots up in the air right now, so. I'm boosted, thank goodness, but even with the boosters, there are a lot of breakthrough cases, and I'm just not willing to take that chance of worrying about COVID testing and then worrying about quarantining for 2 weeks, even though, again, no one told the administration at Osnum that the Centers for Disease Control changed their guidance. But again, I'm not administration. It was the same thing that happened at Northwell, why I got furloughed over there, but, am I mad about it? Not at the moment. Just because at least I'm glad I'm safe in my own home, and thankfully my father is only going out to do shopping as well. But now that I got that out of my system, let's get into a couple of the stories that New York 1 barely or didn't even cover in Brooklyn. There's like 3 stories we have to get into. And then I'm going to make my epic rant about COVID testing sites because it's due. Alright? And I've had this thought even before New Year's. This was last week, right before the end of 2021. How I got mad about testing sites, and we'll get into that. So, first up, let's talk about how they barely, on Channel 1, as we're going to call them, barely even covered a awful shooting that happened in Bed-Stuy. a woman and her dog. This is the first known homicide shooting in the city this year. And this is only the third day of 2022. The third day of the new year. Look at this. Oh, by the way, this number alarms me too. I mean, positivity rate's one thing, but anybody paying attention to the curve? It only seems Osnum is, because when I talked to my boss today, when I told her why I'm taking the leave of absence, she was in agreement. Why we have to flatten the curve again. But again, we'll get into that at the end of the video. So let's get into this awful story in Brooklyn. We have two more awful stories to cover too, which Channel 1 didn't even bother getting to. Okay, so this happened at a smoke shop. By the way, I will mention that all the other stations did a good job covering it. In fact, we'll take a look at CBS New York on this tab in a bit. But I was watching a wrestling video earlier. Some nostalgia from the Ruthless Aggression era. But before I completely get off topic, detectives are looking for the suspect behind a Brooklyn shooting on Sunday evening that left a 36-year-old woman and her dog dead. Police said the woman was executed at a smoke shop at 488 DeKalb Avenue near Franklin Avenue in Clinton Hill at about 9:45 p.m. on January 2nd. Officers in the 79th Precinct responded to a 911 call, found the woman unconscious and unresponsive with a bullet wound to her torso. EMS rushed her to nearby Brooklyn Hospital Center, where she was pronounced dead. Police have withheld her identity pending family notification and to comply with federal HIPAA law. WABC-TV reported that the victim and her dog were both shot by the unidentified gunman and was believed to be a targeted shooting. I mean, that's awful. And mind you, we're only 3 days into the new year. As of Monday morning, police provided little information about the incident, including a possible motive for the shooting. Sources offered a fake description of the shooter, who believed to be a man in a gray hooded sweatshirt and gray pants. So far, no arrests have been made in an ongoing investigation, so. The only thing I wonder was what was the breed of the dog? I mean, that's what I'm curious. Was it a small dog, medium size, big size? I mean, still, that's really disturbing. I mean, look at this. First shooting homicide of 2022. You cannot make this stuff up. You just can't. And then look at this. Hate crime. Where was Channel 1 on this? Nowhere to be found. Brooklyn Jewish man beaten in apparent hate crime. The NYPD is searching for 2 individuals involved in an assault of a 26-year-old Jewish man in Williamsburg on Sunday evening. At approximately 10:30 p.m. on January 2nd, police received a report of a brutal attack on a Hasidic Jewish man on Thorpe Avenue and Bartlett Street, in what appears to be an apparent hate crime. Police said the 2 individuals shoved the young man to the ground and beat him with sticks, leaving him bloody. He sustained lacerations to his leg and hand. The suspects then fled the scene. Video of the attack was posted on Twitter. Okay, so I'll put this on mute. So we have an ambulance here, right there. Now, obviously, I'm putting it on mute because, again, I don't want a DMCA found against me. But, where was Channel 1? Yeah, nowhere to be found. Okay. Non-profit Jewish ambulance service Servera Hastala offered the man treatment on the scene for his wounds to his head. Members of the 90th Precinct, as well as the neighborhood watchman from the Williamsburg Shore, are on hand investigating the crime. No suspects have been arrested, So there you go. First homicide shooting of 2022. And now we also have our first hate crime of the new year. So, Channel 1 missing in action again. Spending too much time talking about COVID. And too much time... I actually spent 10 minutes today covering the redistricting story. Channel 11 did a good job with it also, but they only spent 3 minutes. 3 minutes on that same story. And obviously, I'm worried about my congressional redistricting because it sounds like I'm going to keep the same people, but again, that's another topic for another time. And then, lastly, this happened in Brooklyn, Halsey Street, Bedford-Stuyvesant. So here we go. Fire officials said the blaze broke out in the basement of 632 Halsey Street just before 2 p.m. A total of several residents were rescued by firefighters with Ladder Company 11 on 111 Hancock Street yesterday, all of whom suffered smoke inhalation due to the heavy smoke pouring out of the 3-story wood-framed home. The first arriving units were by heavy flames and residents of the building's fire escape. Smoke eaters operated 2 hose lines to douse the inferno, while fellow firefighters worked to clear debris from the building. So the good news is the fire only lasted an hour. So far it sounded like nobody was injured. So that's good news at least. But again, Channel 1, missing in action. Okay, now to get to my epic COVID rant. Now, why am I ranting about COVID? You may be wondering. As many of you know, we're not going to rant about why I'm not working right now. That's a whole different story. What I do want to rant about is Northeast Queens not having enough adequate testing sites. So, let's read what City Councilwoman Vicky Palladino tweeted today. Due to New York City's racial prioritization with regard to testing distribution, Northeast Queens has fallen to a low priority with city health authorities as we are, in quote, too white. This is why we are currently underserved for testing despite the ongoing COVID vaccine mandates along with the passport. The same passport yours truly protested this summer about, with both the vaxxers and the unvaccinated. So, look at this. Look at this. So this person, let's see who tweeted this, because I know I called Vicky Palladino's office about it last night, because I wanted to leave her a voicemail giving my frustrations, and now she is paying attention to our tweets. So, Councilwoman Palladino, if you are watching this video, thank you very much for paying attention to us, because obviously I'm getting the respect that I deserve given the fact that yours truly technically works in Council District 19. But let's read this. Let's see where this thread was from. Oh, what happened here? Did I lose the... Oh, I lost it. I am so sorry. It just went black there for a second. Okay, so this is from our so-called borough president, Donovan Richards. Let's see if we can zoom into this. Oh yeah, we could definitely zoom into this. Okay, here we go. This is what we have in Northeast Queens right now. We have Queens General Hospital in Flushing. Okay. We also have Queens Hospital, Queens College. We also have Forest Hills. But do you notice that Astoria has 3 testing sites? 3. Do you notice that Jackson Heights has its own testing site at the busy Roosevelt Avenue train station? Yeah. That's how bad it is. Then you got Maple Playground, Ray O'Connor Park, Oakland Gardens, Pominoke Playground. Okay, that's technically not Northeast Queens. So there goes our first problem. But notice how all these areas are in low-income areas. Notice something is off with this? Does anybody notice that Whitestone or College Point doesn't have any testing sites? Why am I bringing this up, you may be wondering? Well, a lot of my coworkers at Osnum are actually from the College Point Whitestone area. And they are furious that they can't get outside testing from an outside source. Oh, and not to mention, where's the testing sites in Douglaston? Where are the testing sites in Little Neck? Nowhere to be found! Where are the testing sites in Fresh Meadows? I thought so. That's why I'm making this rant. Because it has to be done. Why should it matter if we're an area, like we're part of areas in Northeast Queens? Mind you, that there are people who are Caucasian who, let's say, live in Bayside, Douglaston, Little Neck, Whitestone, College Point, are actually part of the blue collar working force in the city. You tell them why they can't get a test right now. You tell them that. How insultful is that? You know, I'm trying not to yell at the top of my lungs, but I'm just about had it with this treatment that we're getting. And yet, Eric Adams is over there laughing, saying, oh, the brown and black communities are getting the most testing, but yet screw Northeast Queens. Oh. You know, I don't care if I get demonetized or somehow, some way I'm getting criticized for this. I don't care. Right? This is not fair to us. Let's look at that. And Councilwoman Palladino tweeted, my office is working to arrange additional testing capacity for our district. It's ridiculous that the city would continue to institute such burdensome and counterproductive mandates, then limit people's ability to comply even if they want to do. So, I'm really hoping Councilwoman Palladino is going to get testing sites in College Point, Whitestone, Douglaston, and Little Neck, because this is just unacceptable. In fact, Glen Oaks doesn't even have enough testing sites. That's another thing. Where are the testing sites in Glen Oaks? So, let's take a look at the map. This is obviously what I looked up earlier. Oops, do apologize. Where's zip code 11365? Here we go, got it. And look at this. How are these enough? We only have City MD. We only technically have 2 sites. And who wants to go to a pharmacy in Auburndale? Then you got the other City MD on Northern Boulevard. Right? You got that one. But do you honestly think anybody outside of Osnum's going to a City MD? No. No. Then you got Premier Healthcare. How is this enough testing sites? How? Taking a look at Little Neck. Oh, look at this. Look at this. They're telling you to go into Nassau County. Unbelievable. Great Neck. Great Neck. Great Neck. What a joke this is. What a joke this is. And Eric Adams has only been on the job for 3 days, and yet this is disproportionately affecting Northeast Queens. Long Island. Okay, here you go. But here's the thing. There's only 2 testing sites in Glen Oaks area. There's not even a city MD. Oh, just because it's too close to Long Island Jewish? Just because it's too close to North Shore Hospital? Yeah, people can't just walk into a hospital to get a COVID test. I warned you this rant was coming. I warned you. Didn't I warn you all? Didn't I warn you all? Now, let's look at College Point for an example. College Point has a growing Latino population. Look at College Point. There is only 1 testing site in College Point. 1! And Vicky Palladino has told me that she's been getting bombarded with calls about this. CVS. Who wants to go to a CVS and get tested? This is not enough. You gotta go to Flushing just to get a test. Flushing! How is this acceptable? So, let's say you type in a low-income area, right? Let's go to Jackson Heights for an example. Look how many testing sites there are in a low-income area like Jackson Heights. Jamaica has plenty. Look how many Jamaica has. Why does Jamaica get so many? Folks, this is the battle that we are dealing with right now in Northeast Queens, and we need to talk about this. So, New York Post had this article, and I'll leave it in the description below. But Channel 1's not going to cover this because they know that, oh, sorry, we're not going to get in trouble for talking about this. So let's read this. So here we go. Health officials in New York City have been using race to help decide how to allocate precious coronavirus testing resources. Look at this. Look at this. Staten Island's also having problems. Why doesn't that surprise me? I mean, people wait in line and all of a sudden it's not enough COVID testing kits. This is ridiculous. Priority neighborhoods. How is this allowed, Eric Adams? How? You're the mayor. Do something about this. So, that's going to end this video. And I know I had to make this rant, but I wish more people would speak up in Northeast Queens and talk about this. Because we don't deserve this. We need more testing sites. We need more of them. That's it.